Today I'm going to be talking about the breakdown of how I made this rope material. It's very basic, and in terms of complexity it's pretty good, so it shouldn't be that intense on the scene. When applied onto my spline it looks a little bit weird, so that may be something I look into on trying to fix, with getting the textures to line up, because you can see clear breaks in the spline where a new spline ends and another begins. So yeah, I think I'm just going to do my rope model and then just use this material. The way it's done is, first of all, I have a height map which I baked inside 3ds Max. I then followed a tutorial in doing this displacement and tessellation. I'll have a link to the video I used in the reference area of the ideas generation. That reference thing is what inspired me and what I followed in making certain things, so I'll have one for the spline as well. So using that I made it bump, which you can see it's quite subtle, and I think the normal maps actually help it as well. For the base colour I used just a simple beige rope colour. I then multiplied it on with the height map just to give it a bit more shading detail. Normally it shouldn't do that, but it does just help it a little bit in terms of look. For metallic, specular and roughness, that's just a 0. For the normal map, I actually had two versions of it. The first version is using the normal map I baked inside Max, and then I added it with micro details. The way I did this micro details was I just found an image of stripes from the internet. I then took it into normal map online to generate a normal map, and then I just added them two together, because when I looked at rope closely I saw that there was the thick strands which gives it that shape, and then inside each of those thick strands it was like micro strands, which you can actually see here, there, and that's what the second normal map is, which is this one. However, the stripes were straight, so what I had to do, I had to look on the internet again for how to rotate a texture, and I followed a tutorial using a custom rotator and just followed that. And I did the same thing with the height map, because if I just break this link you'll see that the actual height map is very different to the one that you can see. It's actually going horizontal and there's only 5, whereas using this, because it's also got some tiling as well. So that's how I made the actual material. In terms of baking, I just had 5 cylinders, and each one has a diameter of 20, and I wanted to make sure that everything was exact, so my baking plane is 100 by 100. I then had a plane above it, because when you bake materials inside 3ds Max, if there are any blank areas it colours them in red, which doesn't always look that good, so just having a plane slightly above what you're baking, we'll just get rid of that. And because each one has a diameter of 20 and my baking plane is 100, it means I could fit 5. For the final version of the rope, what I would like to do is just fill in these gaps a little bit more and maybe play around with the baking settings. But using that, it worked pretty well. All I then did is, in the projection, I just moved the baking plane up, well, the cage up, and that was essentially it. So then I had my textures for Unreal, and that is how I made my rope. Thank you.